it's also power. Because in The Last of Us, it doesn't matter about the people. It matters about the power. Obviously, money isn't a thing in a post-apocalyptic world. No one gives a shit about you have $1 million when, no one can buy bread. Like, it don't matter. So it comes with power, like power over other people, stuff like that. So, which is this character, the main character, a brand new character. I didn't know she was in the game. I thought they might have changed her up.
She's not in the game at all.
Oh my god, what's her name?
Oh my god, I had her name all the time. And talk about that idiot. I forgot what her name is, but this is when Brandon usually steps in.
I know. I was like,
which
you know the names.
Which movie?
The crazy chick from Last of Us,
Melanie Linsky.
Melanie Linsky.
Yeah, her character, Kathleen. There you go. Thank you, Knox.
Thank you. Oh my god.
Where power is kind of her thing. You know what I mean? It's like nothing else matters. I don't care what this person did or why they did it. I just want my power over somebody else.
Was it power or was it revenge?
It was definitely revenge, but also it was like she saw the ground shaking and like, we'll deal with that later. Like,
yeah, what? But it had nothing to do with her having to have power over them. I feel like she was so hurt by.
Well, she sent the entire city, her entire little army after one dude. Like, it's one dude. Get over it.
No,
like,
but she explained it in the show though, right?
She did.
No, he was their leader, and he even explained it. He was a good man, someone that he will follow to the depths of hell, and he gave him up for his brother, because he has leukemia, and for him not to have to deal with it. And she was so lost in her grief that she was only about, I need revenge. Even with the whole armies were going to follow her because she made things happen because of her revenge. She's not a good person at all. She even says, I'm not a good person. I would do things, that no one else would do, but she's doing it all because she was so hurt and that she only cared about revenge. I wonder if she would have got there, what she would have done. Cause she got her revenge. Was she just done? That would have been interesting too.
But that's why, like even I said, like, I think she's power hungry, and the revenge part pushed her over the edge. Same thing, like, I think the revenge might have sparked the power, like, hungriness of it, because the revenge is what was the main reason, which I 100% agree with. But then after that, it was just like, oh, I can control this. I control a whole city. Like, what, like, whatever I say they do.
I thought she thought it was cool, but it didn't matter as much because she could have had more control and more power than anything if she wasn't going after them. She could have done more with it. I think she was only thinking about, I lost my brother. He meant the most to me. She didn't care that she was in control of everything. She didn't care that she was in charge. She's just using him as a tool. I want to go kill this kid. I want to kill him. And that's the only thing I care about. And she was so blinded by rage, she didn't even realize the power was a tool. That's not something she was actually looking for. She didn't care. It was just a tool for her to get what she wanted, and that's to kill him. Because she was totally content with following her brother. She wasn't trying to get power hungry then. She didn't want more power from him. She just wanted her brother, the one who took care of her and made her feel like everything in the world is right. That's all. In what they did with this episode, because this was a faceless army in the game. Really, it was just a militia. And what they did, they humanized it. They gave it a face, and they gave you emotions, and trying to understand why this person is doing these bad things because of their emotion and the things that they had to deal with, and who her brother was to her, and even to everyone, because everyone acknowledges he was a great person.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the leader of the resistance, that he was going to do it right. And I think that is kind of the whole idea. I understand that she had the power, but I didn't think she cared about the power as much. She wanted to find this one person and kill him.
Yeah. Like she used the power for her revenge.
And once she had her revenge, I don't know what she would have done because she wouldn't have been as driven anymore. And that's what they were all attracted to her, how much she wanted to drive, how driven she was for this one purpose. I don't think she would have cared as much.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because they already killed all the rats. Yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. What were they called? What were they called? The informants?
Communicators. What are they called?
No, not the.
No, the people that would like rat to the government.
Who Henry was? What do you call it? What Henry called himself?
Yeah, I don't remember. And then Joel was like, "Oh,
collaborator.
Collaborator.
Collaborator. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
but she
just
played
hell-bent on finding Henry, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter, because if she wanted to solidify her army, she would have said, "Let's start to figure out what's going on with these sounds. Let's start to figure out this army. I can still find Henry. We'll still keep the perimeter up, but let's start to solidify our power. Let's make sure that I can control this city." She didn't care about control of the city. She wanted to find Henry. She wanted to kill him.
Yeah. I mean, because like the one thing she did that was, because it's like you want to slap your self in the head. You're like, "What are you doing?" You know, where like literally in the street as everyone's dying, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm still gonna kill you." You know? It's
just
like
laser sighted on just that.
Yeah, like, hey, how about you turn around and deal with that?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care about it. So yeah, the power thing was kind of.
And then she gets killed by that little kid clicker. Like, really?
Yeah. But kudos to that little kid, because she's I think she was Olympic or not Olympic gymnast. She was a gymnast.
She had
and,
me. She was flipping through that the van like.
Yeah, and she was like some world winning contortionist. I think I read too. So she was that was freaky, man. Like a kid clicker.
Yeah, I'll be done.
Yeah, that was really freaky.
And then what's the big thing? The big monster? What's it called? Like the colossal one.
Bloater.
The bloater.
I think
that's right.
Was it bloater?
A bloater. Yeah. He's a bloater. And the fact that the bloater got his hands on was it his name Perry? Was his name Perry?
Yeah.
And he ripped his head off. The bloater ripped Perry's head off. Oh my god.
Yeah. That was nasty. I was expecting to like explode or something. He ripped it off. It was like, oh god.
Yeah. That's a little bit too much.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but also it's like her revenge pretty much destroyed the city, because she took the whole army to go kill this one guy, and was it his son or his brother?
Brother.
It was his little brother, right? Okay.
So Henry. So it was interesting. So even with the Henry Sam thing, Henry was. It was like a reflection of them, right? It was just like looking at Joel, and how he's feeling for Ellie and stuff, and seeing someone who only cares about protecting this one person, and seeing how it could work, how it could be, and it was so many parts of this episode where I didn't want to fall in love with these characters. I was like, I know, because I know the story was going to Henry and Sam. Like, I know what's happening. And then when Sam was sitting there, playing with Ellie, and they're just being a kid, and first of all, that actor was in Kevion Woodard. Oh my god,
great actor,
amazing.
And then the fact that they told you afterwards that no one knew how to sign, and by the time he leaves the shoot, everyone knows how to sign because he's that engaging, and he's literally a deaf kid, and he said something like, he said, Sam is deaf and I'm deaf, so it's like we have this one thing together, and we try to teach the world how to deal with being silent. And I was like, just listening to him, and just like, you're 6, like to see things this way was so engaging, and you felt that in the episode. Even more. I mean, Henry was fine. Henry was good, but Sam.
Henry was good. Yeah. This was Sam's show on this episode, and the changes that they made from the game, making Sam a little bit younger. If I remember correctly, in the game, Sam was not deaf, but
he was not deaf. He was not deaf.
mm, but it worked. The changes they made were very like beneficial.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Even kind of improved, built upon the source material. You know, like Brian said, you know, being familiar with it, I knew it was coming, and I thought that would kind of prepare me for it, and it didn't.
But
No.
because they built this character so much more, right? They made
Mhm.
you feel even more for him.
In one episode. In one episode. How was it like an hour long ish or something like that?
55
About an
minutes, I
hour.
think it was. Yeah.
55 minutes? Yeah. In that 1 hour, they just like you fall in love with Sam and Henry. Like especially you fall in love with Sam and then you understand Henry's drive, you know.
Yeah.
But like Brandon said, like making him deaf, I thought was so much more interesting because then it's just like he's already lived in a whole world for the little bit of time that he's lived, you know, in a world where he had a struggle, you know what I mean, with being deaf. And it's like now you add this on top of it. It was kind of like he already knows how to handle like obviously different situations, but he's like, you know, all right, you know, like I need to sit here in color, you know, I get it, you know, he was kind of cool with it, but you know, this I don't know.
It made Sam even more dependent on Henry. So like all the time you keep seeing him signing. So what are they saying? And he's like, he's either going to help us escape, you know, and even though that's not the conversation that was going on, this is what he's telling. He's totally dependent on Henry more. Like it connected them even more. It made Sam even more dependent on him. And it also made Henry realize I have to be everything for him. And it was so good. They did a great job, but I saw the connection. I felt it, and I was dreading. Even though I knew I was just enjoying the episode, I was dreading seeing the end of this episode.
Yeah. And like I said, the changes in the show, the changes made in the show is both better and worse because it's more painful here. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then she also said, Neil Drunkman definitely made this episode in mind when he said, "Why y'all crying over episode 3? It's happy." I didn't even think about that because I think that was like a tweet he said or something like that. He's like, "Oh, this was happy. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Wait till I really mess you up. Wait till I really mess you up."
You know what's so funny? We knew it was coming when we saw the guns in their face. You saw Sam and Henry. You knew it, but then you saw what Henry did for Sam, and you know even I don't remember what's his name. Was it Edelstein, the guy that the doctor?
The doctor.
And he said, you know, hey, he's scared. He's like, no, he's scared because you're scared. That was big for me. Like, anyone who, you know, he's his brother, but he's really his parent. He's really like his guardian. And any parent knows when you have a child, they're only afraid if you're afraid. If you show fear, they feel the fear. If you show no fear, they have no idea why you should be afraid because they believe in you that much. And once Henry understood that, and then he did that for Sam, and then when they had to go, and he put the mask on him and let him know he's a superhero, and that's when the connections really started going. And then I was like, all right, this is going to be bad. This is going to be really bad.
Even that I thought it was interesting because it was like the whole time I think Sam thought Henry was the hero and he was the sidekick and he was like, you're gonna be the savior. But then like I think Henry knew. He goes, no, you're the hero because you're what driving me. You're the reason why I'm acting the way I'm. Like you're the hero of this story, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just thought that was like a nice like little thing. He's like, no, you're the superhero, not me. You know what I mean? Because it's like you got to deal with it. You know, so you know, it's even like something like that was kind of cool. But just the title of this episode: "Endure and Survive."
Endurance, and wasn't that the name of the comic book they were reading?
I don't know if it was the name, but it was in the comic, or it was like something like that. But
I think that's the name of it: "Endure and Survive." And that was big. But I mean, I guess we talked about all this stuff with Sam and Henry, but we really didn't talk about how their relationship affected Ellie and Joel. And you can see
especially Ellie.
Ellie opened up and she's smiling and she was loving and kind to Sam and reading to him, and the part when Sam shows her his bite and she doesn't freak out and she tries to cut herself and use her blood in order to save Sam, and he's like, please, I don't go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. And that, I mean, it tore my heart out. And then Ellie, she falls asleep and she wakes up and she's trying to talk to Sam and he's changed.
Yeah. That really
even before that. Yeah, even when he passes her the Etch-a-Sketch, whatever the hell it's called, the little writing board, and he's like, am I
out of me?
Or was it something like that? Like, am I still the same if there's a monster inside me or whatever? I was like, instant jaw drop. I'm like, no. Because I remember watching it, me and Erica were obviously watching it together, and I'm like, she's like, oh, something bad's gonna happen. I'm like, there's 7 minutes left. They can't. I was wrong. I'm like, God. They just ripped out your heart with that last, like legit. It was like 7 minutes left. And I'm like, they're not gonna. It's 7 minutes. They can't just destroy me like that. Neil Druckmann was like, hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer.
I'm gonna make you just cry. Yeah.
What did you guys think about that though?
Yeah.
What did you think about what Henry did when he grabbed the gun? What did you think was going to happen?
Let you go, Brandon.
Well, that because I played the video game, but no, like I kind of no, you know, and his initial instinct, just how protective he was over Sam, was to like defend anyone from like going after him, and and then he does what he did, which was end up putting Sam out of his misery, which was kind of on impulse. And he kind of questions what
wasn't it? It was all impulse, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, but we spend the entire episode exploring the bond and the brotherhood between Henry and Sam. So I think even for people who haven't played the game, just looking at that just looking at all the buildup that we had towards the episode, we knew what Henry was going to do next after that happened. So
man, you saw it coming, and Joel saw it coming, and I felt like Joel was not just trying to save Henry; he was trying to save himself because he sees himself in Henry. Because Henry did bad things, but he did it for a reason. He was trying to redeem himself with Sam, and he saw himself in Henry. He's trying to save him and bring him along and have that connection and let him know that life was not going to be over, and he wasn't able to save him. So I think though you see how it affected Ellie outwardly, I feel like it affected Joel inside a lot more.
Yep.
And we don't see it, but it's something that he realizes, like, I've now connected with this little girl again, and if I lose her, if something happens to her, I think he will do the same thing that Henry did. I think it's like almost foreshadowing what would happen if something happened to her, to Ellie. That's what Joel will do. Joel will no longer be able to function without her, and he's done it again. That connection again with her.
Yeah. Well, I forgot what I was watching. Well, it might have been John Campia, where he was saying like the title was like, or a comment on it was it was called what's it called? Endure and Survive. It was like Sam couldn't survive and Henry couldn't endure, and I was like, damn, like the whole title was like,
wow, with
stuff like that is like really. I'm like, that's true, It's like. But also the way he was waving that gun around was just like, like I know in the game, like what kind of happens, but granted things could change in the show. They've taken some liberties already. I was like, oh my God, is he gonna like shoot Joel? Or is he gonna shoot like Joel and Ellie, thinking like, oh shit, well, that's it, everyone dies. Like I can't go on, no one can go on, kind of thing. I don't know, because the way it was, it was shot really great too, because it was such a chaotic moment, and it had to happen really quick, and it had to be very, very chaotic. And it was just like, he's got the gun, he's pointing here, and the camera was just like looking over his shoulder, and then when it just did, like, he shot Sam, and you're just like, fuck, and he's still kind of like trying to figure it out, and then it's just a still right on Henry. It just stays right on Henry until he does what he does, and I was like, damn.
And it kind of made sense too, though. I mean, once again, so Henry's he's like, I've never really shot a gun before. I've never really, like he said, he
never killed anybody.
He helped other people. You know, he talked about a lot of people, but he never really killed anyone. And the fact that he had to be his brother, the thing that matters the most to him in the world, you saw him shatter. You saw him shatter, and but I was hoping that Joel would save him somehow. But the fact that it did, and then they bury him and they dig the graves themselves, both of them. And then Ellie brings Joel's stuff and let's go. And it's like, what happened wasn't that just Sam died, but Ellie's childhood died right then.
Like too. Officially. Yeah.
All the rest of her childhood, everything that was died at that exact moment. That was very powerful. And I was like, man, this show. I was saying, this show, man, you doing this.
So Knox said, I haven't been this messed up over a pair of siblings since Grave of Fireflies. The one about a 12 and 5-year-old surviving themselves during World War II. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
I do know what she's talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And then she said, I like the changes in Henry's dialogue. Yeah. In the game, he points the gun to Joel, saying it's your fault. But in the show, he says, what did I do?
Yeah. That was a good change.
That was
yeah. Because I thought it was kind of go after, like, what did I do? Like, it's your fault. I had to do this. That's what I thought they were going to kind of go at, and it played out better the way it did in the show than I think in the game.
I can't say better because Henry killed himself. And
more emotional.
Yeah, but yes, it made more sense. It did make more sense.
Yeah. Like one thing that got me is like how you said, like, Ellie kind of like her childhood died, was like, you forget she's a kid, and that, like, oh, I'll just my blood is medicine, so let me just rub it on you and you'll be good. And I don't know if she actually thought that was gonna work, because she knows, like, and you forget, like, oh, she's still a kid, like that's not how it works, but to her, like, in the kid's mind, was like, I have the medicine in my blood, let me give you some, and now we're all good again. And it's just like how naive and childish, not childish, like, just that's what she is. She's a child, so you doesn't have the brain.
I think it was that you
critical thinking.
When you have that much negative stuff happen to you all the time.
Yeah.
All that, and she finally had a glimpse of happiness. She wasn't ready to give that up. And she was, I think, and though she logically understood that it probably wouldn't work, she prayed that it would, and
had the hope.
And had the hope that it would work out, because if he lives, this whole journey changes.
Yeah.
They have a chance to become a family, and that's what she's desperately needing.
Yeah.
And now she's lost. I'm telling you, her childhood died at that moment.
Wow.
And Joel's connection with her grew tenfold that moment, and everything's going to change. She is now part of his family. She is no longer cargo. She is part of. He already had feelings for her, but now she's family. And that's what we can see, that the distinct change. But she now is she'll start putting more walls up, because that's what teenagers will do. Put walls up, and they're going to get to Wyoming. And he has to protect her, because can't allow Ellie to go down like Sam. He cannot. It's not in him that he cannot allow that to happen. He'll do whatever he could to stop that from happening.
Yeah. Knox said when she wrote "I'm sorry" on the board, I think it messed up Joel, because he looked down and read it and is like damn. Like, I think that's the moment he knew. He's like, she needs me, But,
There's so many times in the episode where I just want to give him a hug. I was like, just come here. Come here. Let me give you a hug. And I'm like, come on, Joe, just give her a hug. And, you know, that's not their relationship right now. But I just wanted to there's no reason for you to have to deal with this at your age. There's none.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Brandon? Any other parts or anything that like stuck out for you or had some good moments?
Like I said, I was kind of dreading this episode, like I said, because I knew what was getting ready to happen from the second Henry and Sam got introduced at the end of the last episode. So I was actively trying to avoid any emotional attachment, I'd say, but it ended up happening anyway because the show is just doing that good at establishing that connection, making you bond with these characters even when you don't want to. It was a tough watch, but a very effective watch. If I rewatch any of this series, I don't think I'm going to be able to rewatch that one. That was tough.
Yeah,
that was a tough one.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts on.
Yeah, and like I said, it's I think it's the last 7 minutes because I remember I remember pausing the TV. I'm like, there's 7 minutes left. Like nothing bad's gonna happen. Like right, then, So I was like,
I mean, at that point, Joe was sitting there like shooting everyone from the window and killing everyone as much as he could from the window, which is amazing. And the fact that they got away with that, but the fact that we didn't see Sam and Henry, I knew what was happening. I was like, they're following exactly what's going on this damn game.
Also, that scene is very video game like.
It's the first time.
I've played no, even in the first episode though, where they were in the car and you were in the back seat, that's like straight from like the game. But even this is like something like I've played games that did that, where your NPC person has to sneak through and you have to clear the way for them, and you're like sniping. Like I've played games like that before, like a bunch of games that have that same scenario. So I was like, oh shit, I'm like, that's very much like video game like. So even that, I was like, okay, I like that. It's not a direct, connection, but I was like, yeah.
I think what I was saying more of this, it was the first time you see all these zombies and realize how dangerous of a world, and you see all of these clickers and coming out and understand why humans lost. Like you saw all those things, like you saw they're powerful, they were unyielding, and they even with guns they were just coming in and eating people and tearing them up. And that the first time it felt like a video game, like a zombie video game to me.
Yeah,
that was like I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You deal with the human experience, but you also deal with zombies. Like, don't forget, guys. This is why this post-apocalyptic world exists.
Yeah. And also, like, it's telling the critics, because there's a lot of people out there, they're like, I want to see more violence. It's a zombie killing game. Like, I want to see more zombies killing. I was like, there you go. Like, I mean, you got the zombie killings, but the zombies killed a lot of those people. And then they're running to the town and just, that's it. Casey's off the map. Like, that's it. No more Kansas City. It's done. Like, it's crazy. But like thinking like after, like, I just like how you can watch the show and then think about it, and you're like, oh, that's how they connected that. Like, oh, there were people living underground. Like, that's why there's a kid clicker. Like, that's why there's like these things, because they went underground to hide, not knowing the shitty government is gonna stick all the zombies down there. So it was like, so they just basically fed the zombies and made them stronger. It's like, just, it's really interesting. Like, the more you think about like little details like that build the story overall, and you're like, oh, that's why you're so effed right now. This bad decision after bad decision after bad decision by multiple people that just all come together into one big, apocalypse.
Horrible bad decision.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean, even the whole thing starts off with a bad decision of like somebody getting sick in whatever grain or flour, and they're like, I'm gonna go home. It's like, what was that? 14 people, wasn't it, or something like that?
In the world.
Yeah. Then I said this episode would have been my fave, but it's too painful. Yeah. So that's why it hasn't beat episode 3. Episode 3 hurts, but it's rewatchable. Episode 5 is an epitome of epitome. Yeah. Of great media, and I'm never watching this again. That's what Brandon said. I am never watching this. Yeah. It's definitely
bringing that up. So, what is your favorite episode so far?
I mean, I got to give it this one just because it's a good story. You get to connect with these characters, and then it just rips your heart out right at the end. Right at the end, when you think you're done, you're safe, you're in the nice hotel room, everyone's having fun, and wham! Like, don't forget, we hate our fans and want to make them cry every week. So,
what about you, B?
I'd still say probably the first episode is still my favorite. It really hooked me in. You know, it's really important that they kind of hook you early on. I thought that really they really made good on that, and essentially making Sarah the main character of the initial episode.
mm-hmm.
That was a great idea too. I liked how it set up the world that we're going to be, you know, along for this ride on pretty effectively. Great performances all around the table. Really kind of it set the tone, you know, in terms of like suspense and heartbreak. We get that pretty much every episode, I think.
Yep, exactly.
So I think it was an effective setup.
I'm going to say episode 3 is my favorite, and episode 5 is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that too. I mean, they're both very emotional, but emotional on different levels. Like, one's a happy emotion, and the other one is a very, you know, sad and somber like emotion. You know, but they nailed both of them perfectly.
They nailed the first. They've nailed every episode. There's no filler here. Every episode matters, and every episode I've enjoyed for a reason or for one reason or another.
Mm. Yeah. I'm really thinking because even episode 2, it went straight into it. Yeah, all the episodes were just kind of
good,
into it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so this is the tweet that Knox was that brought up. So this is Neil saying, "Why is everyone crying? That was a happy episode." So, you know, and then you got, you know, Bill and Frank here. Yeah, it's like he told us. He warned January 29th. Yep.
We didn't know. So. We didn't realize what we had.
Yeah. But oh man. Where do you think it goes now? What's the next step?
I mean, he finds Tommy, right? And I think the problem is, like, you can only love one. You only can save one person at a time. You only can put all your effort into one, and he's literally going to choose Ellie over Tommy.
Ooh. Yeah. That's kind of interesting. That'd be cool. What about you,
they changed something, so I think he's literally going to do, like, he's going to have to either save one or save the other. He's going to choose to save Ellie over Tommy.
I could see that happening. I haven't really thought too forward when it comes to the following episodes. I'm just kind of, but yeah, I could see that happening. I haven't even really entertained it. I'm just basically more or less kind of taking each episode how they come.
Somehow in 6 hours they're going to make it to Wyoming, because you can walk to Wyoming from Kansas City in about 5 hours.
Movie magic. But yeah, I don't know. I think this next episode might be another journey episode. I don't know if it's a destination episode yet. I think they meet Tommy right at the end, and then the episode ends. And then I think because then there's how many episodes? 9
Is it
episodes,
8?
or is it a full?
I thought there were 8 episodes, but it might be 10. Let me see.
How many beginning? How? 9.
9.
So this was episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see 6 being a journey, and I can see it really connecting Ellie and Joel more together. Like this is the time where where they really connect with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because right now he needs to talk to Ellie, so he needs to talk to like how you would a kid. You know, like hey, it's not only like get over it, move on. It's like hey, shit, it sucks. But
yeah.
So I think you're gonna have that conversation, and they're gonna kind of have an argument. And like Brian said, like the walls are gonna be up, so it's gonna be like him finally wanting to go in now, but she has the wall up. So this whole episode is them trying to connect and finally at the end of the next episode, I think they're both gonna understand that we're more than just cargo and delivery man. Like we're a family now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and then you introduce the real family, and now you got another problem. And then going forward, that's what you're gonna have other issues.
I will agree 100% with you if I then think the episode is gonna be an hour long. So I think they can do all what you just said in 20 minutes. In 20, 25 minutes, that happens, and then they meet meet Tommy, and then Tommy pushes Joel away, and then Joel tries to reach back out for Tommy, and while he's doing that, he realizes he needs to keep Ellie close, and he chooses more Ellie than Tommy. And then the next episode, we really see Tommy get into trouble, and Joel have to stick by Ellie, and choose to stick by Ellie, even though he just came all the way to Wyoming for him. But he's gonna choose her.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So I was trying to see how long this one is, but they're all about an hour. I think the shortest one is going to be 46 minutes from what I saw somewhere.
Didn't it already happen? Didn't we have
Which I think already happened, yeah. And the longest episode already happened. So I think all the rest are going to be right around that 55 to 60 minute mark. But oh man, this is
they're doing a great job. Yeah, they're doing a great job. That's all. And they released it, and it didn't have to fight the Super Bowl.
Yep, that was awesome.
Yeah. That was probably the best thing, because like Friday night you got that, and you let everyone sit in it all weekend. You know what I mean? So
I felt a certain type of way on Saturday. I was like, man, I almost like let's just talk about this today. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. If I was free Saturday night, I would have been hell yeah. Let's talk about it. Because it was bad. Man, it was. And even though I watched John Campia today, and he said, him and his wife watched it, and as soon as it happened, his wife is just, when he said like she's ugly crying, she's making the noises, she's crying. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, that's everybody. What are you talking about? Like,
he said what she was doing. He ain't saying what he was doing. I ain't crying. You crying?
Yeah, yeah. That was. It's such a great episode. Great season so far.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah. And if we only get 2 seasons of this, like I'll be glad, because it will be all good episodes and an ending, where like something like The Walking Dead dragged way too much.
Yeah.
Like how many 10 seasons now or something stupid? That's way too
Probably
long.
more than that. Like I lost count. I checked out of The Walking Dead a while back, but it's nice to kind of know when to stop and when like when the shelf life of a show is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they do 2 seasons, I'd be good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they do a great job with these characters right now, and that I'm less worried about season 2 because I was worried about season 2 because I thought it was doing for the second game like this. It's not season 2 is not going to be good, but now I know they're going to do whatever they need to do to make the story make sense.
Mm-hmm. So I know how season. I know how game 2 is. I didn't play it. But I watched and I read a lot of like people and Twitch and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys know how the second game is. But do they change any of it?
Yes.
No spoilers or anything, but do they change any of it?
I think they make the story better. They make the story fit what they've been doing, what they've been building,
what they're trying to do.
So there's no longer have to worry about because the second game is not as good as of a story, and then it doesn't make as much sense. They're going to change the story to make the second game okay. The second season okay.
Yeah. I mean, so far they haven't changed anything too much. There's small details here and there, but nothing too.
Well, they've added a lot. They've added a whole lot. They've given character development. They've given you arcs, better character arcs, and I think that's what they're going to continue to do.
Yeah, which is kind of what knocks her question is. She says she sees people complain that the side characters have more spotlight than Joel and Ellie, and it makes them more mad that they quickly die. I disagree, but what are your thoughts? And it's kind of like, wait, go ahead.
In the game, a lot of times it was like these one-off missions, and people are dying, and you're supposed to care about these people. What they've done is taking these storylines. We know they're going to die, but they've given more depth to these characters. Once again, what we said about the militia. We talk about Kathleen and the other guy, but you understood her now. They took her to the room that she grew up. She explained her brother. And then you hear it from our multiple people's mouths. They've given everyone a lot more development. So you can care about the missions. You understand it's not just a mission, but these are people. And they've made everything into people. And I thought that was important to do. And that's how you really engage in your audience.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon? Too many side characters or what?
No, I'm fine with the side characters. I like the idea that we're seeing from multiple perspectives and multiple facets how people are adjusting, how this new, kind of world is impacting other people. It can't be just Joel and Ellie, even though they are the central characters. I like that it gives you, so to speak, like a well-rounded kind of universal perspective of how this is impacting a multitude of people. I think that was very necessary for the show. Joel and Ellie are still the central characters.
Yeah, they haven't changed anything.
Enough time of their own,
Yeah.
But I think what they're doing is pretty necessary, and I think it's pretty well executed also.
For me, these like side characters. I mean, how many side characters have we got so far? Like Bill and Frank, and then Sam and Henry. And granted, we didn't see Bill and Frank directly interact too much with the other with Joel or Ellie, but that story kind of like told you a story of Joel almost, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're protectors and this and that. Like the whole ending of that episode was like how it connected to the main characters, and, and to the world as a whole, you know what I mean? So, and it's especially with Henry and Sam, it's a direct connection with them. It's like, yeah, they're side characters, but also everything the side characters done so far have helped make Joel and Ellie more interesting characters, so by the time you get to the end of the season, when it's only them, you're more invested into them because you're like, I saw the connection that Joel had with Frank and Bill. Like I saw the connection that Ellie had with Sam. Like I see how they still care, they still have humanity, and they still this. And it builds up.
Even with Tess,
yeah. Like things add and make the main characters better. So what's that like saying? Like any story worth being told is worth being heard, or something along those lines, and like, and there's a reason for it. It's not just like you threw in a random like love story. Like, no, it meant it had reason for the world and for Joel, so yeah. So I don't know. So I don't agree with like side characters and stuff. No, like
but
that,
I mean, but they're right. I mean, Sarah was a side character, and they put an emphasis on it. But when you do when you emphasize these side characters, you're enhancing the story. You're explaining every part of that character, of that main character. We're understanding the main character more by their relationships that they have, and we understand the connections more about we understand more about that character because of the side characters. The side characters are doing a specific thing for you to understand and to connect with these main characters. Instead of just telling them you're main, you're connecting them with every part of the story.
Yeah.
And you understand their psyche all together. And I think that's an incredible job. And I think that's really important to do if you're going to get someone to really love your show.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's easy. It's easy to do in a video game when you are playing that character. Like you have to read that letter. You have to go through that door. You have to climb that ladder. Like you're making that decision as that character, and you get a lot of stuff like that. It's different when you're sitting and watching the show rather than playing the show. You know what I mean? Like you're in the game. So it's a little different because side characters, because you directly interact with side characters and this and that. In the show, it's different storytelling, and I think they're telling the story the perfect way for TV. So yeah, I don't really agree with that. And I know she says she doesn't agree with this either. So, and I'm not worried about the future changes of season 2. I mean, look at episode 3.
Exactly.
But like I said, they added on. They didn't change. Well, I mean, they kind of changed Frank a little bit with Frank.
Yeah, and they changed
or Bill. I mean,
no, both of them, Frank and Bill. So Frank,
technically, yeah,
they're both they're really in love. There was no facade. There was no. I mean, they changed the fungus and how quickly it can move and understand that, and they changed how Tess was how she died and the way she died, and the zombies more than a militia. They've explained the militia and gave them a face. They've changed some things that need to be changed, and I think they've done an unbelievable job. And I think we should give props to the show writers, and good job.
Yeah, 100%. This show better win every damn award when it comes Emmy night. Emmys every award. This is when you think of great HBO shows. This is it. This show is like when you think of like, oh, HBO is like peak cable. This is what you kind of think of,
Agree.
So, oh man,
I'm guessing HBO will probably double their subscribers because of this one show.
Yep. I know my sister was going to cancel her subscription because I forgot whatever she watched, and then she was going to cancel it.
Are you for it or something like that?
No, she's older than that. I think it was Game of Thrones or something. I don't know. But I know she was gonna keep it for this, but then she wanted doing other stuff. But I mean, at this point, you're like, HBO has the best stuff on their HBO Max. I don't know, and this is just like the cherry on top of all the other great content. But man, yeah, they definitely. Anybody who canceled their subscription after Game of Thrones or whatever, House of Dragon, they got back and some. So, and every week the rating, it gets more and more viewers.
You see that? I don't know
how. Every week, more and more and more. It's like it doesn't, because usually the pilot, the first episode is really high because that's where you get everyone, like Brandon said, and then it'll dip and then it'll plateau for a while, and then the big ending. This is like good, and it keeps getting higher, which is crazy.
Because they're
for a
allowing
show.
us to talk about this stuff, and everybody, all
Yeah.
YouTubers are talking about this stuff and how important this is, and what a great job they're doing, and explaining each character, and that's just bringing more and more people to this new show.
Yeah. So, but oh man, but cool. I think we should end it there. We've been going on for a little while.
Wow.
Yeah, almost an hour. Just game with Last of Us.
Damn it, Ezra.
No, just Last of Us. We've been going for almost an hour. Ezra, that's a whole nother. We ain't talking about that no more. Everyone canceled HBO for Velma. Came back, kept it for Last of Us. That's funny. Yeah, you just like reactivate your subscription every Sunday and then cancel it Monday.
I just don't want to have a chance to see in Velma. No, I refuse.
Yeah, don't even show it. All right. Any last words, guys?
No, that was fun. This was a great episode. I can't wait. I can't wait every Monday just talk about Last of Us.
True. Brandon,
Same. Yep.
Oh man, cool.
So
Cool. I think for
really
the finale, we should get together somewhere.
I agree. I like that. That's a good idea.
That'd be fun for the finale. Kind of get together, like either watch it or do the show together somewhere. And even if it's not obviously not at 10 o'clock at night, maybe like I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah. Oh man, but cool. Let's get out of here. Knox, we really appreciate you being here and hanging out with us and joining the chat for The Last of Us. I'm assuming you were waiting the whole time for us to talk about Last of Us, and you had to deal with our nonsense for the last other 2 hours.
I almost felt like we should be doing Last of Us first. Everything else afterwards.
But we appreciate it. And if you were watching our replay, thank you. Great conversation. So if you want to join in on the conversation with us, hit that subscribe button. Join us live every Monday and Thursday. We talk about shows, TVs, trailers, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and come check us out live. If not, you can watch the replay. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about episode 5 of The Last of Us. Endure and Survive. Yeah. So,
I love it.
And then last one, she goes, I can't wait either. These chats are fun, and since it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to eat and cry over strawberries while watching
episode 3. So, that's awesome.
Do that little giggle that Nick Offerman does when he bites into it. That got me. But there you go. Get some strawberries and then cry as you remember Bill and Frank. But that needs to be a Valentine's Day card. Love me like it's the end of the world, like Bill and Frank or something like that.
Find someone who loves you like Bill loves Frank.
Yeah. Yep. All right. But yep. Thank you guys. Hit that sub button, hit that like button, join us live. But we are out of here. Thank you, and we will see you guys in the next video.
Thanks, guys.